Good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, I am back, and I have not recorded a Charlotte Hornets video in their last three games, and we went 1-2 in those three games. We lost against the Heat, won against the Portland Trail Blazers, and we lost our last game against the Cavs, which was just a bad loss. We were down early. We came back late, but obviously it was too late of a comeback, and we lost by three. But some takeaways from these three games, just stats-wise, because I didn't really watch them, is that LaMelo is balling, especially in this last game. He had 30, 6, and 7, which is, like, let me look at his averages because LaMelo is insane. He's not leading in points because Miles Bridges is still averaging 23 points a game. He's been on a tear these first 8 games of the season, but 20 points for LaMelo Ball in under 30 minutes, 6 assists, 6 rebounds, 1.6 steals, and zero point 0.5 blocks. Like those stats are almost all-star. If he can get his points up, that's pretty much an all-star point guard in the East. And yeah, he's been playing great as a team. We've been playing all right. Scary Terry coming back into the lineup, especially I think he came in on Halloween, like Scary Terry did, where he did okay in his first game back, but versus the Cavs he had 23. Kelly Oubre, his production has been a little less since Terry Rozier has been back. His minutes have been down. He only scored 2 points in this last game, only in 21 minutes versus the Cavs. But the Cavs just shows us how all of their height. I mean, if you look at their top three, like their big guys, I think they all start the Evan Mobley, Larry Marketing, and Jared Allen. Evan Mobley had 15, Larry 21, and Jared Allen 24. Like that's most of their points that they scored here. And they had 113 points, and that's just quick maths, like 65. That's a good margin of their scoring, and their starting five had a good margin of their scoring. The only person off the bench who really scored for the Cavs in this game was Seni Ojeleye. I don't know, some foreign name, and he had 13. But other than that, the most of their scoring was led by Sexland and then the trees down low. So that was that game. But what I really wanted to talk about in this video is the Miles Bridges thing, because we all know he's been going off 23 points a game. Let's look at his other counting stats. 8 rebounds, 3 assists, almost 2 steals, and a block a game. Like, he is pretty much an all-star caliber player through the first 8 games. Whether or not he can keep this going is obviously not determined yet, but he's been on a tear as of the first 8 games, and it's really interesting going into the season because right before the season started, it was rumored that we have offered him a contract extension, and he declined it. And everybody's like, he's betting on himself. That's not, when people bet on themselves, like, it either goes one of two ways. They either get way more money because they had a breakout season in that one year that they bet on themselves, or they had a poor season and they lost a bunch of money. And it was rumored here that we offered him a 4-year, $60 million contract extension, which is a lot. And it's really interesting because it probably sets a benchmark for what they are willing to give PJ Washington next year, because he has a contract extension, I think 2023, so that would be next offseason. But it's really interesting if they offer him somewhere like something like that. Obviously, PJ Washington has not shown the same production and in the same amount of minutes as Miles Bridges, but for Miles Bridges to turn this down is saying a lot, because that is $15 million a year. Although, sales tax and everything in North Carolina is crazy, but that's a lot of money. And for him to turn that down is kind of crazy, but he's betting on himself for us to offer him a lot more money. I'm trying to think of what it would take for us to retain Miles Bridges, because I'm sure there's a lot of teams, probably like the Cavs, who need wing depth, that would offer him a bunch of money in free agency. I'm talking $20 million a year, and we were offering 4 years, $60 million. So that's what I wanted to talk about in this video, because we can get really expensive this offseason. We have Terry Rozier, who is an unrestricted free agent in 2022. Obviously, I think 2 years down the line, we have LaMelo Ball. Like, I know another unrestricted free agent is Cody Martin this summer. That's probably not the highest of priorities, although he's been balling this season. But it just shows you how the Charlotte Hornets can become a really expensive team in the future. And that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about in this video. If I wanted to talk about the overall standings so far, 8 games into the season, 7 games, 6 games for some teams like the Heat. I mean, there's not a lot of takeaways, but obviously the Bulls have been really hot. I watched the end of their game where the Celtics just squandered their lead. Like, they had a 20-point lead and it just went away like that. And the Bulls have been really good. I was watching the end of the game and I was just like, this lineup that they have on the court right now is just deadly. They had Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan. They had Lonzo Ball, Alex Caruso, and Nikola Vucevic. Like, that 5 out there to end the game is pretty deadly. And it's just, they deserve to be 6-1. They're in a 2-game winning streak. Talk about winning streaks. The Heat are in a 4-game winning streak led by Jimmy Butler. They're 5-1 to start the season. They're pretty good. I haven't really kept up with like the other players on the Heat. I just know that Jimmy Butler is just averaging, I think, 28 points a game. But obviously Kyle Lowry, their acquisition in their last game, had 15-8 versus the Grizzlies. And going to the Western Conference, the Jazz are just going to be a great regular season team. I know Mike Conley was out in their last game versus the Bulls, I believe. Maybe that was 2 games ago. They're super good. Lakers, slow start, 4-3. Look at the bottom of the conference. The Pelicans 1-6 without Zion is just sad. Obviously, these other teams like the Rockets and the Thunder are expected to be there. The Eastern Conference, the Pistons are expected to be there. Cade Cunningham is getting a lot of shit for his debut, but I didn't think it was so bad that everybody likes to paint it. Pacers are kind of weird, being 2-6. I expected them to be a lot better. Obviously, they're one of those teams that hover around the 6th rank in the seedings. So, yeah. Also, the Celtics are, I mentioned it before that they squandered that 20-point lead that they had. But yeah, that's going to be the video. Thanks everybody for watching. I'll see you guys later.